Chapter 20. Jake watched her go, reeling at how fast his dreams had crashed at his feet. How many nights had he lain awake over the years thinking of Mackenzie, dreaming of kissing her, touching her? None of those fantasies had come even close to the real thing. She was beyond his wildest imaginings. And now she was so pissed at him she hadn't even met his eyes when she'd said goodbye. Fuck! Checking his watch, he groaned inwardly, before spinning on his heel and heading around the front of the school to meet with Jim Boston. The next few hours with Jim and the other 6 men reassured Jake of his decision. Jim had a family to come home to, so he wouldn't be taking any unnecessary risks. When the meeting finally broke up, he had half an hour before they were to head out, and Jake was hoping he'd catch Mackenzie in the cafeteria before the dinner rush started. Walking into the familiar room, he had the instinctive urge to check for incoming spitballs. God, they'd been unruly kids. Smiling, he glanced around and waved when he caught sight of Chloe attempting to wrangle several small children. "This is much harder than it looks," she huffed, putting her hands on her hips and surveying the damage they'd caused with cups of red jello. "I'm not saying it looks easy, but sis, you're a teacher. Shouldn't you be all over this?" "I'm a high school English teacher. These terrors are 5 and under. Way outside my experience. Give me hormonal teenagers any day." "So, who has the teenagers?" Come to think of it, he hadn't seen many kids around at all. "I've seen a few groups roaming around, but, to be honest, I'm not sure how many are left," she admitted. "And their parents?" He waved at the children. "Dead." "Did you get to the community garden?" Jake asked, changing the subject. Chloe's face brightened. "It was a gold mine. I've got a wheelbarrow of vegetable seedlings that the kids and I are going to plant tomorrow." "And Grams?" I didn't get a chance to stop in and see her. The doors were locked and no one answered my knocking. I went straight to town hall and Jeffries tried to tell me they were probably napping, she said doubtfully. "I'm going back after dinner. Want to come with?" "Can't. I'm heading out with the group going to Dutton." Jake waited for Chloe's reaction. His big sister wasn't known for holding back her opinions, and, like Mackenzie, he knew she'd be worried about his safety. "Okay, just be smart," she surprised him by saying. "And if you get the chance to talk to anyone, can you ask about Ash? If he was making his way home, he'd have to come through Dutton." "Of course." He pulled her into a hug. "I'll be back later tonight." He found Mackenzie alone in the kitchen, stirring an enormous pot of meat and vegetable stew that, despite its appearance, smelled delicious. Coming up behind her, he slid his arms around her waist, dipping his head to kiss the back of her neck. She stiffened, but then relaxed back into him. He smiled against her skin. "I'm still mad at you," she said, continuing to stir. "I know, babe. And when you get back, we're going to have a serious discussion about your attitude. We're a team. You can't go around telling me what to do." "We are way more than a team, baby girl," he murmured into the sweetness of her neck. "But you're right." He turned her to face him. "I should have talked to you about it. I know it's a shit show out there, but I'm going to be careful." "I know you'll be careful, but what about everyone else? You're going on a stealing mission for the stupid council. Don't we have gas in our own depot?" "It was due to be refueled when this all happened, and we think the tankers were held up at Dutton." He realized Mackenzie was no longer relaxing into his embrace. She was definitely still pissed. "It doesn't mean you have to go," she said. "You know I'd do anything for you, but—" "Anything?" She raised an eyebrow. "Babe, please don't ask me not to go. I've committed to the team, and I can't back out now. I promise we are taking every precaution and you'll wake up tomorrow morning with me in your bed." He could see the indecision warring on her face, his insides warming because he knew her anger was born from fear. Fear for him. The girl didn't know it yet, but she was totally falling for him. "You do what you have to do, Jake." She turned her back to him, resolutely stirring the stew. He hated he was upsetting her, but he had to be proactive about their situation. "I'll see you in a couple of hours." Moving to her side, he reached out to grasp her chin, tilting it so he could kiss her lips. She twisted her head, and he grazed her cheek instead. Steeling himself, he stepped back, hoping she'd at least look at him before he left. Her eyes stayed downcast as he walked away,